Across China, government employees are being told, hey, you can't travel abroad without permission. Some workers have even been ordered to hand in their passports. Gordon Chang joins us now. Why is China closing up? Why are they afraid of foreign contact?
First of all, Stuart, I think that there's just paranoia. But also they know that they're in trouble. You know, when someone travels abroad, they bring money out, and China has a cash problem. The other thing is that I think that there's a general concern that people in Beijing see that if people travel abroad, Chinese travel abroad, they're going to get a very different view of the world than recent Chinese propaganda. The gap between what China says about itself and reality is growing, and we've seen that over the last couple months. I think Beijing is really, really worried.
Is Xi Jinping's leadership a little brittle? Is it in question here? The last time you were with us, you were saying, yeah, he's got problems.
Yeah, he certainly has problems, and we're going to know by the end of October how true these rumors are. There's two big events between now and then. One of them is that there has traditionally been senior Chinese leaders meet at a seaside resort, Beidahe, and they often hammer out really important leadership decisions. The second thing is the Communist Party is holding its fourth plenum in October. That's going to deal with a lot of economic issues. We're going to see how Xi Jinping weathers these 2 months. If he weathers them, then he's okay. But if not, I think there's going to be a real change in the leadership. And we're all just waiting. It's criminology.
I wonder how they're going to deal with this, because China's fertility rate is falling. A study suggests it's dropped below replacement levels. Is China's population actually falling, Gordon? And if it is, what's the implications of that?
It's been falling for about 3 years. It's now about 1.4 billion people. Some say 1.3 billion. But by the end of this century, Stuart, it's going to be somewhere between 330 and 770 million. This is going to be the biggest population fall in history in the absence of war or disease. And essentially, China's total fertility rate now is probably half of replacement. So you can see why this population is going to collapse fairly soon.
You need the fertility rate has to be 2.1. That for replacement. Right. Your population stays stable at 2.1. I think that's babies per woman in a lifetime, whatever the measure of it. But China's fertility rate is half that now?
Yeah, China claims 1.3. Some Chinese demographers say it's actually 1.1. You'll see some say 1.0. There's a lot of disagreement about fertility in China for a number of reasons, but clearly it's around half of replacement.
But that's an economic problem, isn't it? Because if your fertility rate shrinks, your population actually gets older, and there are more and more retired people who have to be supported by fewer and fewer actual workers. That's the economic problem for China right now, right?
It's a dependency ratio, and China's dependency ratio is worse than almost every other country's. So it's not just a shrinking population, it is who's in that population. And by the way, China believes that it can get around this with robots, but you can't do that. You can ameliorate some of the effects of population decline by automation, but not to the extent that China needs.
Okay. According to the Wall Street Journal, China's limiting access to critical minerals for our defense companies. Gordon, I thought we had an agreement on these minerals. Is China not honoring their side of the deal?
They're not honoring the May 12th agreement. But, you know, by the way, China, we got to buy, but China's got to sell. The Chinese had a similar export ban on rare earths to Japan in 2010. The Japanese said, we're not going to put up with this. And actually, they got around it, actually also buying directly from Chinese state enterprises that had to sell. And about 2 or 3 months later, the Chinese just dropped the export ban because it wasn't working. We're so much more powerful than Japan is, we should be able to do the same thing. Yes, it's going to hurt, but remember, we've got a lot of leverage too. We've got parts for Boeings. They need access to our market right now because China is more export dependent than it's been in a very long time. President Trump still holds the high cards, and I hope that he plays them.
What do you think, I've got 30 seconds, what do you think are the chances of a China trade deal within the next month?
I don't think so, because I think both China and the United States are stalling. China's stalling because of the leadership turmoil. We're stalling because President Trump is stitching up all these trade deals that are isolating China. So actually, delay helps us, and I think that's what Trump is doing.
Gordon Chang, thanks very much for being with us. We'll bring you back as soon as possible for more on China. Thank you, Gordon.